What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to All Things Football. It's been a while, but I think we have some great news. Well, for me at least. Leicester City have won the FA Cup for the first time in their history thanks to a Youri Tielemans thunderbolt in the final against Chelsea. I mean, I'm happy. I'm not a Leicester fan, but I might have a little bit of a soft spot for them. I'm just glad they beat Chelsea and prevented them from doing the FA Cup and Champions League double, I guess. Do you think that Chelsea's failure to win in the FA Cup final, which is, by the way, their 9th defeat in their last 11 finals, I think, is going to have any impact on the end of their season, which includes the Champions League?
I think it's a wake-up call for Chelsea because I guess they just thought, oh, it's Leicester. They can easily win this final. But now I think they're going to step up. I still think, obviously, the game against City is City's to lose.
Yeah.
However, with Chelsea, they're going to have to step up because that was not good enough. I think all their fans are frustrated about how poor they were yesterday. And obviously, they play Leicester next game in the Premier League. So that's their chance to obviously show what they're about. But yeah, I think they'll push on. So I want them to win the Champions League. Now that they've lost the FA Cup, I want them to win the Champions League. But I don't know. Imagine they just don't win Champions League and don't get top 4. That'll be the worst season.
Yeah, it's still possible for them to drop out of the top 4 completely and obviously not win the Champions League because they have Manchester City in the final. But I think as well as Leicester City winning the FA Cup on Saturday, first time fans have been back in the stadium, and I think what an occasion for them to be allowed back. I think many of us, well, I know me personally, I was never a fan of the fake crowd noise, but actually,
I was about to mention that. No more fake crowd noise. I always went to the other channel which had no crowd noise.
Yeah, I think one, I liked and enjoyed hearing what the players had to say because I know before. I'll say a few years ago when I was watching football on live TV, obviously you could never hear the players, and for me it was, what are they saying? They can't be quiet. Because obviously you don't see their mouths move or anything. Yeah. But actually hearing the constant talk especially from the defenders and the defensive midfielders, which is what I realized, I think it just goes to show how complex Premier League football is. But I just said to you before the stream, I saw a tweet which said, if there weren't fans in the stadium, Tielemans wouldn't have taken that shot. Just before he took the shot, you hear cries of shoot, and it was so good. Such a clean strike. Didn't take a deflection.
Top bins.
Oh, yes. But I mean, he's capable of that. Yeah.
What I hate to see is these Chelsea fans saying, if Mendy was in goal, he's much taller, he would have got the shot. No, I don't think it makes much difference if Mendy was in the goal. There's no chance he was stopping that.
I'd say 50-50 because I remember I was watching the highlights with my friend and I kept rewinding for the Tielemans goal because it's just such a nice goal, as you can imagine. But Kepa didn't move his feet. He didn't get off the floor. Maybe he was stunned by the fact that the shot was that powerful and didn't get blocked. He just didn't expect it, but his foot movement was terrible. Maybe that's one of the main reasons he's just not a very good keeper. I think Mendy would have saved that because I do think he is a better keeper, but I just think we have to appreciate the quality of the strike and the fact that at the end of the day, it did go in and Kepa was in goal. And I think Leicester, over the past few years, they've come close to getting top 4. Obviously, they won the Premier League, and Brendan Rodgers has been a manager that's always been there or thereabouts, but never made it across the finishing line. And I think now that he's won an FA Cup, in English football at least, it will be able to push him on a little bit more and maybe show the rest of the Premier League or many fans around the world what he's really about. Because I'm happy for him. Yeah, I'm happy that he managed to win an English trophy.
Yeah, I think for any neutral or anyone who supports anyone other than Chelsea will feel happy for Leicester, especially the scenes with their chairman who came onto the pitch, celebrated with the players, something the Glazers would never do. But the way he celebrated with the team shows how much he backs the team and how much of a family club Leicester actually is, and how Leicester is now one of the top 6 clubs at the moment.
I think Tottenham have to be booted out of the top 6 club shout mainly, but they've been, Champions League football, but they've never actually won anything. Well, apart from 2008, I think they haven't been able to justify their role in the traditional top 6. Now it's the top 6, not the traditional top 4. But I think Leicester have taken their spot comfortably.
Well, I want to ask you a question. Is Leicester getting top 4 and FA Cup a better season than Man U getting top 4 and potentially a Europa League? We're not sure yet.
If you take the context out of it and a fan point of view, no, because one, finishing second is better than finishing fourth or third, and the Europa League is a more prestigious award than I'd say the FA Cup. So I'd say no. Sure.
Some would say the FA Cup is the greatest competition in England.
It is. It's the oldest competition in the world. I'll tell you that. But the Europa League it's not a minor trophy. The Europa League is a major trophy. It's second to the Champions League. You're not playing against Tranmere Rovers and Luton Town in the Europa League. You're playing against Villarreal. You're playing against Roma. Tougher teams. You come up against tougher opponents.
And young boys.
Shut up. You have to work harder. It's a grueling competition. You're playing it throughout the whole season. It would be more tricky to win it. And I just think if you're talking about it from like a Leicester fan point of view, they haven't won the FA Cup before. They haven't won a trophy since the Premier League, and before that, it was a very long time since they even got to a final. So yeah, I think relative to them, it would be a better season for them. But as a United fan, no, it's not.
Relative to them is also relative to us. Relative to us, their season is better than ours. Because as a Man United fan, we should be expecting us to be in the Champions League, not playing in the Europa League final. Yes, it's good that we're here, but we're here because we got knocked out of the Champions League.
Yeah, we messed up.
We're only second. We're second, but we're far from first. We're not actually challenging. So
we're still second.
But Man United were meant to be challenging. That's the level. That's the difference.
It's such a tricky one. It's such a tricky one to say because we are second and we've been here under Mourinho, but it wasn't as bad as under Mourinho. We had genuine chances of pulling away at the top of the Premier League and we messed up. We got comfortable just like we got comfortable at the top of our Champions League group. The match against Başakşehir was an awful game and that is the one that threw it away. That's the only reason we're in the Europa League, but it's not as if we got relegated to the Europa League and crashed out of that. We got relegated to the Europa League and bulldozed our way through. We're showing the quality that we actually have, and we're showing that we genuinely should be in the Champions League. We should be reaching the knockout rounds and giving teams a tough time away and at home in Europe. The Europa League isn't where we should be, but we're here and we're here to win it. You're meant to be challenger for every trophy that you're involved in. Yes, we're not in the Champions League, which is where we started at the beginning of the season, but we're going to win the Europa League. And I think that's paramount to our season. And if we don't win it, then yeah, Leicester have had a better season than us because they won a trophy and they finished in the Champions League, which is something they've only done once.
Yeah. But yeah, obviously Man City are champions because we lost midweek to Liverpool. I think we'll quickly cover that game. Obviously, we lost 4-2 at home.
Yeah.
To our biggest rivals, Liverpool. And yeah, we can lose to like a City, we can lose to a Chelsea, but losing to Liverpool, I was hurt. Literally, when that fourth goal went in, I just had to turn off the screen because I couldn't deal with it. I don't know how you felt. You were actually in town with your United shirt.
Yeah, I had to put my jumper on quickly. Yeah. It was.
Tell us how you felt, or talk us through the game.
We went 1-0 up. Oh well, before I say that, I just want to say what I think the approach to the game was. Obviously, we've had a few matches in a few days, so our players aren't going to be 100% fit. Liverpool had more rest than us. Yes, we rested a few players against Leicester, but it's mental fitness and physical fitness. Players came on the pitch against Leicester, so it would have affected them. I'd say at most we went into that game with 75% or 70%. I think the approach was to try and kill the game as quickly as possible, so burst out of the blocks. We got an early goal through Fernandes. It was obviously quite a big deflection, but we were still 1-0 up. Yeah. But then after that, I feel like you could see us just look like we were treading in mud. We looked fatigued so early on. And obviously, as the game went on, Liverpool's superior fitness just came to fruition. And it showed that, yes, we rested a few players, but we're still knackered. And I don't think we deserve to win. And I'm not surprised that we lost. It just hurts that it was Liverpool. And their final goal.
Henderson. Positioning. What was that positioning? He looked... the goal looked like there was no one in goal.
Yeah,
That's basically what it was.
When I didn't actually watch the goal going live. I was in a bar and like my connection cut or whatever, so I had to wait. And then I only saw the last goal when I watched the highlights. I heard a lot of people when I saw on Twitter all of the commotion, "Oh, Henderson's rubbish." I was thinking, what? He couldn't have done anything that bad. But then I watched it and I thought, this doesn't look right. I'm not a goalkeeper, but it just doesn't look right. I don't know why he was where he was. Maybe he just didn't know how far out from his goal he was. Maybe he thought he was further out. Because if you're in that position, I can understand it if Salah's 5 yards ahead of where he is, but it's just none of it. It was just an easy goal for them to score.
Like the question comes up again about De Gea and Henderson. Why is De Gea being dropped from the Prem team? And De Gea, I mean, Henderson's not in the cup games. Surely we would have played De Gea in the league, at least to see him out this season in the league, and then we bring in Henderson through the cup games and then comes into the Premier League next season. But obviously that hasn't happened. And I'm sure De Gea would have at least, maybe not saved it, but at least his positioning would have been better. But we can't even say that anymore because it's happened now.
I think that De Gea and Henderson switched roles because you play your best keeper in the league when you know that you're not going to win the league anymore and you think, yeah, we're going to win the Europa League. We kind of have to put more eggs in that basket. You play your best keeper in the competition that you're going to win. That's what the approach I think Oli has taken this season. And I don't disagree with it because at least he's being consistent with it. At least with goalkeepers, you have to have some sort of consistency more than I say anybody else on the pitch. You can't have one keeper this game. Say 3 Premier League games in a row. You can't have Henderson, De Gea, and then Henderson. It has to be Henderson or De Gea. We're in it to win the Europa League, and I think that's why De Gea will be has been starting in that competition. However, I do think that De Gea will start against Fulham or Wolves, because if he doesn't play in the Premier League, then he hasn't played for 2 weeks, I think, before the Europa League final. So he has to have some minutes just to keep his hands warm for that game. But
I actually tweeted out after the game. I think maybe the day after I had relaxed, because after the game I went straight to bed. But literally, I said I'm fed up of seeing Fred. I'm fed up of seeing Pogba left wing when he should be in midfield.
Yeah.
And I'm fed up of seeing Rashford on the right when he's obviously the best on the left wing with Luke Shaw.
Yeah.
But yet Oli persists with Pogba on the left wing, McFred, and Rashford on the right. And I just don't understand it, because McFred, still, they haven't learned to pass forward. We've seen it in some games, but this is a big game and it's not happening. So then why don't you move Pogba into midfield earlier, Rashford on the left earlier, Greenwood on the right? And things like that Oli hasn't learned. And I don't understand. If we had a better manager, some would say if you have a better manager, those things, who knows, we could have won the league. But Oli still was just naive and doesn't change things.
Until Solskjaer comes out genuinely and explains his selection, truthfully, for McTominay and Fred, I will never understand it, because you have Pogba there, who's a centre midfielder and has been his whole career, won the World Cup with France, partnering Kante in the midfield, came through at Juventus on the left side of the midfield. He's never played on the wing. He's never played as a left midfielder. He's played as a left central midfielder. He might have played attacking midfield a few times in his career, but has done that rarely. I was thinking earlier, I'm glad you brought that up, actually, because I was getting ready to go to football earlier, and I was thinking in my head, if we have 3 signings, one right winger, a centre back, and good afternoon, and a central defensive midfielder, we have a team just maybe 13 or 14 players of the quality that can challenge for the Premier League. I'm talking, yes, we get Sancho on the right, so you don't have to play Rashford on the right. You keep Rashford in his natural position, his best position on the left, and then you maintain that relationship with Luke Shaw, which is probably the best in the league at the moment. Then you can put Pogba on the left side. You could put Pogba on the left side of a defensive 2 with someone like Declan Rice or someone like Dennis Zakaria, and then you can have a centre back like Varane. I think McTominay and Fred play so much to protect the back four, to protect the two centre backs, because we all know that the Maguire and Lindelof partnership isn't very good. Individually, they're good centre backs, but together they don't work. It's like fitting square pegs in round holes with those two when they're put together. Having McTominay and Fred, two midfielders that are going to sit and just defend, whether or not they're the best on the ball, they're going to sit and defend. They're going to protect the two centre backs. If you bring in a quality centre half in Varane or Koundé, or just someone like Marquinhos, then you don't have to put so much emphasis on protecting them, wrapping them up in bubble wrap. So then you could put Pogba in the midfield, who isn't as good defensively as McTominay or Fred. He's able to express himself and actually dictate the play of the game. But then you could bring a specialist CDM in, someone like Declan Rice, who maybe even in the games can be that one holding, the one single pivot, and have Pogba and Bruno ahead of him. I think the reason for McTominay and Fred is because of the centre-backs. Because if you don't protect those two centre-backs as a pairing, you're going to get exposed. It's just going to be just 90 minutes of on the back foot. And we obviously can't do that.
But Ollie,
there's many reasons.
He doesn't want to take a risk. We're playing Liverpool at home. Just take a risk and play Pogba in his best position. If you want your best players to perform, play them in their best positions. Play Rashford on the left. Play Pogba in midfield. And if it doesn't work, okay, change it at half time. But the fact that we're not playing our best players in their best positions, this is what happens. Like, we lose 4-2 at home to our biggest rivals. And that's something, if fans were in the stadium, that's something that they wouldn't accept.
Yeah, it's what as you were saying that, I was just thinking, Ollie would have put Pogba on the left once. The first time he did it, and thought, yeah, this is actually not that bad. It's actually working a little bit. And then he does it again. Might not have the best game on the left, but then he thinks about the first time he did it and it worked. Then he does it again and again, and now it's just his position. Because, as I said, of the complications that you have within the spine, the centre-backs and the two defensive midfielders, now that Pogba's there and has worked there, admittedly, he has been good in that position because of the quality of his, because of his talents, not because it's his good position, just because of how good he actually is. Rashford on the right, he gets an assist for Cavani off the right. Ollie Solskjaer's thinking, Rashford comes swinging across. 1 out of 15 or 20 crosses that he puts in, but he sees that one goal. All of these things that he's doing have taken us to a position where we're second in the league and we're in the final of the Europa League. In Ollie's mind, he's thinking, we have a few issues here and there, but overall it's not that bad. But what he doesn't understand, or what I don't think he understands, is if you actually put players in their best position, which he's rarely done. I'm talking Pogba CDM next to Van der Beek or Fred, or even Matic. You put Rashford on the left, Cavani up front, Greenwood on the right. It's not his best position, but he's probably the best player that we have on the right at the moment. If you do all of that and give them a 5, 6, 7, run of games, you're seeing a team that's way better than the team that's playing against Liverpool. You're seeing a team that McFred doesn't start, and you have more control in the game. You're able to pass the ball better. You're able to retain the ball. And that's something which I'm just waiting for him to start. And maybe it will come when we sign a defensive midfielder. But I hope, I'm just praying that we don't go into the first game of next season with McFred. Because if we do, then, boy, we're not going to win the league.
Fred was back to his best against Liverpool. Misplaced passes, bad touches, rushing into tackles, and then just pop it around him, play 1-2 around him, and he's out of the game. I just don't know what has gone on. I don't know. Fred, I take back my apology. You earn it back sometime. I don't know, but
at the moment, fraud watch.
Yeah, at the moment, you're just not. It's not good enough. But I think we should move on from Man U. Obviously, we're playing Fulham on Tuesday at home, and I think fans are going to be back, so that should be good. But obviously, champions Man City, 7-goal thriller against Newcastle.
Yeah.
Beat them 4-3 on Friday. Ferran Torres hat-trick, 21 years old. Potential Aguero replacement in striker?
Nah. Ferran Torres isn't a striker. He's a winger, inverted forward, but when you play under Pep Guardiola, you don't really have a choice. Phil Foden's done it. Sterling's done it. Bernardo Silva, Riyad Mahrez, they've all played centre forward. They've all played up front. And it's because of the system they play. Yes, Manchester City, I think, are a system team, but each individual player they have at least 7 or 8 world-class players in that team. It was only a matter of time before he scored a hat-trick, because he himself is one of the brightest young talents in the world. I just don't think he gets spoken about enough, because I don't think he's as good as someone like Mahrez or Sterling or Bernardo Silva, but he's well up there.
You have to take into account his age. He's 21. And
Wait,
let's just quickly go back to this comment. Real Madrid will not do any business with us after the Super League fallout regarding Varane.
I can see that, but I reckon if that was the case, you'd see no big deals done at all this summer.
Yeah. And Fred just called up to Brazil squad. A Man United fan is not seeing something. I've seen more than enough for Fred to know that this must be Brazil C squad, because I don't know.
There has to be injuries. There has to be. There can't not be injuries.
Because he wouldn't be there. I think Pep might have stumbled into something with Torres up front as opposed to the wing. That back heel goal was and apparently Ferran Torres has a very good goal to game ratio. I'm not too sure what it is.
But he does.
It's really good.
Whenever he starts or whenever he plays, he can contribute something. He's an amazing player, and I want to say he came from Valencia. I think he came from Valencia, but I'm honestly surprised that City were the only team that were even in for him, because I didn't hear anything about it.
City have good scouting. Literally, the players they get, they're always usually very good.
Yeah,
like someone like Torres, no one had heard of him. Yeah, and he's here just banging in a hat trick in the Premier League. Not everyone can do that in the Premier League.
Yeah, it was a great game as well. Joe Willock missed a pen, but he managed to score the rebound.
Yeah.
It was a game back and forth, but at the end of the day, Manchester City showed their quality and proved once again why they're the champions.
The thing is, they were. I remember seeing the score, and I think they were losing at the time. And I was thinking to myself, imagine if we had beat Leicester and Liverpool, and then City were losing to Newcastle. It was all written in the stars. And then obviously City are just too strong. They ended up obviously winning the game.
There would be a 9-point swing, like literally a 9-point swing in that. I think we'd be 4 points behind, but it is what it is. I guess
they're deserved champions.
But maybe they're gonna do the Premier League and Champions League double.
I think actually, I want Chelsea to win the Champions League. So, but City they're too strong.
Yeah, I think City will be pretty safe in that match.
Yeah, and obviously yesterday, Leeds United beat Burnley away 4-0. Bielsa, I think we talked about Leeds earlier this season, how they're too good to not get they're too good that they wouldn't get relegated, but they're not good enough that they would be quite high because of the way they play.
Yeah,
they literally turn football into basketball game, just back and forth, and sometimes it works. Obviously, against Burnley it worked 4-0, but against teams like when they played us, obviously they lost by like 6 goals. And yeah, that was clinical. They played counter-attack football.
Yeah,
4 goals. Jack Harrison is someone who's English and is quite underrated, actually. I
think he's underrated, but at the same time, you could say he's overrated. I was talking to my friend about the way Leeds play and the players that they have. You've got Calvin Phillips, who I think is very good. You've got the goalkeeper who's up and coming. He's only 21 and he's been pretty decent this season. And of course, you have Rafinha up front. They have 2 to 3 very good players, but then the rest of their team, I'd say, is average. The rest of their team wouldn't be pushing to start for a team like a team in the top 6. Harrison, I don't think would start for a team in the top 6. He'd be a bench player. Same goes for Bamford. You're looking at their defenders, Luke Ayling, Alioski, Tyler Roberts. None of those players start for any of the top 6 or top 7. It's just the way they play. You're either going to get genuinely obliterated by them, or you're going to tear them apart. And that's why we see scorelines. They're beating Burnley 4-0, but at the same time they'll lose 6-2 to us, and all of that. There's no consistency, and that's why they're overall. I would say I don't think they're that good.
They're currently 10th in the table. I think that's fair enough for the way they play. Literally,
yeah.
I think 10th is fair. Obviously, not many players. None of their players would actually get into the United team. I'm
I
pretty
think
sure
only
Dan James would get into their team.
Yeah, Dan James.
He should go to their team.
Yeah, they were desperate for him. They were desperate
Yeah.
for Dan James.
Yeah, Jack Harrison is on loan for Man City. He's got 8 goals and 8 assists this season.
Yes, he's doing good. Like, he's a good player, but I think just purely based on the amount of attacking they do, you have to have decent stats. If you're starting every match, if you're a vital part of the squad. Same goes for Bamford. He's not an amazing player, but balls just get delivered to him on a plate by Rafinha and Harrison.
Did you see Rodrigo? He got a brace yesterday.
Yeah.
Great touch and finish. Probably could have had a hat-trick, but yeah, Rodrigo was brought in last summer because many Leeds fans were unsure about if Bamford could do it in the Prem. Many people were just like writing him off before he even stepped foot in the Premier League. So obviously they brought in Rafinha just in case for the option. And obviously he's very different to Bamford. Bamford's at the start of the game, he was just getting dominated by the Burnley centre-backs. So obviously I think Bielsa brought on Rodrigo because he drops in a bit deeper and obviously can spin off the defenders, which he did. And I think just adds a different dimension to the Leeds attack. But
yeah, he's a speedster. He's a tricky player.
Yeah.
Doesn't get as much game time as Bamford, obviously, but he's a decent finisher. He's been part of the Spain squad for a few years as well. So he has experience at the highest level. He's been playing for, I want to say, Porto in Portugal, Valencia. I know there's another team, but I cannot remember exactly. But he's been around the block. He's not young, Rodrigo. He's a great player, I think, to come off the bench for a team like Leeds.
But Fulham relegated and they played Southampton. I think this has been such a poor season for Fulham. I don't know what to say because they were so good in the Championship and then they just fall apart in the Prem.
Yeah.
Obviously they lost 3-1 yesterday against Southampton. And I don't know what to say about Fulham. Scott Parker's tried. I think they made good signings in terms of Josh Maja, the striker who they signed. They got the winger Ademola Lookman.
Oh, do you know what? We have to talk about Ademola Lookman. We have a fraud watch list, but why hasn't he been put on? I don't think he's on fraud watch. I think he's a fraud.
No, he was good at the start, and then
no. He's not.
He was good at the start, but then obviously he's fallen off with the rest of his team.
No, I think he was overperforming at the start. I don't think his level is anything other than where he is right now, battling for relegation and probably, terrorizing the Championship. He's not on the same level as Callum Hudson-Odoi, but he's the same sort of player. They look brilliant because the first thing they do when they get the ball is try and beat someone. Notice when Lookman gets the ball, he beats a man, might beat another one. Where's the end product? There's no end product. There's just very rarely any end product. He has a lot of shots is hitting the post or going wide. He looks sick because I just blasted a shot against the post. It didn't go in. It's off target. It's Lookman. If he came to United, if we ever signed Ademola Lookman, I promise you. No, Ademola Lookman could not do it.
Not United. I still think Lookman is a Premier League player. He just needs to find that right team where he can be used in the right role. Because when he left Charlton to go to Everton, he was a striker.
Yeah,
and
he went to
Fulham. He's been played on the wing, so he just needs to find his best position and a team that can play him in that position because he does have quality.
Oh,
and when he was at Charlton, he was banging goals. Obviously, he's above that level, but it's just about finding that level where he should be playing at.
He went out on loan to RB Leipzig. No, he didn't. Did he?
Yeah, Leipzig.
Permanently?
Leipzig on loan. He wasn't good enough.
Yeah, that when you take him to a level, I think the Bundesliga is such a good place for younger players to go because you're going to get the game time. 2, it's not just on that Premier League level, but it's almost there. If you're struggling out there, you can't come back and say that you're a Premier League player.
They had Timo Werner at the time, so
yeah, but you can't come back. You can't come back and say that you're a Premier League player. He's a good person, good player, good footballer, but he just doesn't have end product. And I think, as I said, I put him in the same bracket as Callum Hudson-Odoi in terms of he does all of the hard stuff. He can easily beat a man with a step over. He's just quick feet. He's very fast. But when it comes to it, he is a Leipzig player on loan. I knew they bought him permanently. He'll beat a man. But when it comes to the cross or when it comes to the shot, you don't really get much. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what cuts it at this level. I don't think coaches care that you can do all of the silky stuff.
But what the end product, that's it.
Yeah. And I think that's why at the end of the day, me personally, I don't rate Lookman that highly. And I think high level championship getting promoted to the Premier League or a relegation level player. He's surrounded by shit, but that doesn't mean that he can't shoot.
No, it's true though.
It's true.
Teams at the bottom of the table, literally, it's hard to have end product when the rest of your team, you just can't do it. It's hard.
Jack Grealish did it last year. There's been plenty of players over the years that have been playing with dead teams, but they're the standout player, and they can score a lot of goals. They've scored a lot of goals throughout the season. Look, man, I've seen enough times when he's been in the box and just missed.
Let's not go to that penalty because that just sums. I think that just sums up his season. That penalty. I don't know who told him to do that. When looking back on the season, imagine they picked up 3 points that game and we got relegated. But this guy wanted to try to do a Panenka.
Yeah, man. Being surrounded by shit players only takes you so far.
Yeah. You're mentioning about youth players. Nathan Teller scored for Southampton.
Yeah.
How old is he?
I'm
20?
I want to say he's 20 or 21, surely.
Yeah, he's 21.
First Premier League gone. I'm happy. I love seeing young players come through at their teams and
Lookman on
I'd say Aguero mainly because Mendy stood up and caught it. Yeah. It's just a bit. He caught it with one hand. That was bad.
And they lost the game.
Yeah, magnitude of the game as well.
Yeah,
had to be Aguero. Imagine that was a Champions League final.
He would not get that. He wouldn't get that statue built. They'll just break it apart. Oh yeah, you mentioned Nathan Teller and the youth.
I love seeing young players come through and score. We have another one today. In the match that's going on right now, Sheffield United. Let me pronounce his name properly. Daniel Jebison. Yeah. Another one scored on his debut. It's nice to see. But yeah, Southampton beat, I can't remember, 3-1.
Fulham, yeah.
They beat Fulham 3-1. And I think I always find them an interesting team. They're way lower than they should be. I think, I'll probably sound crazy, but I think they are where Leeds are. They should be where Leeds are because of the players that they have. And the manager, Ralph Hasenhüttl, yes, 9-0 twice in a row. But besides that, he's a good manager. There's a reason why he was at Leipzig. There's a reason why they've put so much trust in him and haven't sacked him after those 2 defeats. And there's a reason why he's spoken so highly of. He's a very decent manager. I just think he just had a poor season.
Yeah, they're currently 14th at the moment. Yeah, it has been a poor season. But I don't know. With their squad, they have got good players, but they did have injuries with like Danny Ings. So had those injuries not occurred, obviously Danny Ings is one of the best strikers in the league.
Yeah.
So it could have been very different. As you said, they could be where Leeds are at the moment.
I think that's where I can't say that's where they deserve to be because after 36 games or whatever, you deserve to be where you are. But they've just not had the best campaign. Shay Adams has come on a lot. Nathan Redmond as well, I think, is an underrated player.
Yeah, Armstrong is very underrated as well.
Yeah, I think I would say Ademola Lookman and Nathan Redmond. I feel like they're similar players, but Redmond has a bit better end product, and that's why
he's in the Prem.
Yeah, that's why he's a permanent Premier League player.
Yeah,
because when he was at Birmingham, I know Manchester United were looking at him when he was at Birmingham, and I know Chelsea were as well. But obviously, he went to Southampton instead. And when you have players like that, the tricky wingers, he's a very good dribbler, very fast and agile. But when it comes to crunch time at the top end of the pitch, he can actually pick a pass out through the eye of a needle and score. I remember in Manchester City versus Southampton match.
I was actually going to say that's what I remember of him. That
Pep
game when
Guardiola
Pep came up to him. Yeah,
and you don't see that happening to Lookman. No offense to him, but I guess there's a talent there. He's not young anymore, obviously, but I reckon he could cut it at a side probably battling for Europa League places or in the Europa League.
Arsenal.
Honestly, Ibs,
What?
if Arsenal went and tried to get Redmond, obviously Arsenal fans would be like, "What's going on? Why are we going for a Southampton
he could
player?"
perform for them.
Yeah, he would. He would be a starter for them, I think. I reckon he would. I reckon he'd be probably. You don't bring him in to be a starter, but I reckon with the quality he has, he could work his way to being a regular fixture in the Arsenal side. Honestly, because he's not a bad player at all.
Maybe. I think obviously he's a senior member of the Southampton squad at the moment. I don't know if he'd leave. I don't know if clubs would be in for him. I don't think they would because he hasn't done enough this season. Obviously he's got more goals and assists, but he's always had, as he said, Big Ron says, he's always had a lot of potential.
I just remember the fanfare when he was at Birmingham. It was people going crazy. Well, teams were going crazy over him. But obviously, I feel like he picked probably what would have been the smarter choice in going to Southampton for regular minutes. Shame he hasn't moved on. He's had quite a few injuries over the years, but he's always been a good player.
Yeah, and a team that is even further below Southampton, he should probably be higher, is Brighton. They drew 1-1 against West Ham. And I think Brighton, they should be much higher, especially with the manager they have, the players they have. Danny Welbeck, he's been a good signing for them. He scored. They have people like Mope, Yves Bissouma, who we're potentially looking at as a Pogba replacement. Obviously, they had the injury to the right back. What's his name? Lamptey. So they did start the season well, but I think with bottom teams, like having injuries, it just costs them because obviously they don't have the squad depth. But
I think with Brighton,
yeah, go on.
I think with Brighton, they have a manager who's, I think, at a club not good enough for him. Graham Potter's an amazing manager, and if Tottenham were looking for a manager, I wouldn't be surprised if they went in for him. He's a very good tactician, and I think if he had a few better players, 2 or 3 better players, Brighton would be easy mid-table. Because you've got someone like Bissouma in the middle of the park. If you put him next to a quality centre midfielder, then you have a very, very solid foundation in the middle of the pitch. Danny Welbeck's a seasoned pro. When he was at Man United, he was always hit and miss for me. He was a good player, good goal scorer for England as well. But at Brighton, I'd say one of their better players. Neil Maupay. A lot of people don't like him because of he's like a shithouse, really, isn't he, on the pitch? He's a wind-up merchant. But I like him. He's a quality striker who came from Brentford, just like Ollie Watkins. Yeah. But Lewis Dunk at the back as well. They have a very good spine. They're just honestly a couple of players away from reaching that mid-table regular finish.
Yeah, as you said, Danny Welbeck. He's literally a Premier League striker. I think obviously he's going to be on a free transfer again this summer. Any team in the bottom half would take him just because his movement, his link-up play is underrated, and he can get goals. And Big Ron agrees with you that Potter's probably the best that has impressed him this season.
He's a quality manager, and you can see that he managed outside of England as well. He's not a traditional English manager. He's not just a kick it, lump it out of players and
they actually play properly, like actual football. Some of their team goals have been amazing this season. But West Ham, top 4 hopes dented. They crumbled under the pressure. Champions League nights will not be going to East London, unfortunately. Yeah, I mean, it's not over, but it's over.
It's very, very unlikely. Yeah. About Champions League and the fact that they can't qualify. I know I said on a couple of previous episodes, if United win the Europa League and obviously an English club will win the Champions League, the next 2 Champions League spots go to 5th and 6th. But that's only if the Champions League, when I say Chelsea finish outside the top 4, then that's when the spot goes to whatever position they are. And if Manchester United obviously were outside the top 4 and we won the Europa League, then we'd obviously qualify, and the teams in the top 4 would also qualify, not the other way around.
It wouldn't happen, basically.
No,
it would only be 4 teams.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. And yeah, West Ham missed out on opportunity, and they still could miss out on even getting Europa League. Is it Conference League that they would qualify for if they finish 7th?
7th place is Europa Conference League qualification. Let me just triple check that. I don't know if they'd qualify for that. I still think they get in Europa League. They're just missing out.
Europa League's 5 and 6.
Yeah, Europa League's 5 and 6, but I reckon they can. I don't think they're going to lose before the end of the season again. I think they've not. The thing is with West Ham, they've not got any pressure on them. They're well above where people thought they would finish.
But they definitely felt the pressure yesterday against Brighton.
Yeah, but
it was Everton in Rice's interview. He was mentioning how they've probably missed out on Champions League, so it was on their minds. And I think that the fact that it was on their minds, they obviously they crumbled under the pressure.
For West Ham to get Champions League, they obviously need to win both of their games, and Chelsea need to lose both of their games. Tottenham needs to lose at least one, and Liverpool need to lose their last 2 or just draw 1 or whatever, because West Ham can only get 65 points. I still think they're going to get Europa League because they're on the same points as Tottenham.
Yeah, they will get Europa League, I think, at least.
Yeah, I don't want to see West Ham in the Conference League, not after their Champions League push. I think that'll just be like a big blow.
But yeah, Said Benrahma got his first goal for West Ham. Is that another player from Brentford?
Yeah, on loan. I believe he's on loan.
Yeah, I think he's on loan. I think he was signing on loan.
If Brentford do get promoted, I wouldn't be surprised to see him go back because he does have that Premier League experience now, and I think he'll be, quite an important player for them.
Are Brentford near the playoffs?
They are in the playoffs. Brentford, Swansea, someone else in the playoffs, semi-finals.
Yeah, I know Brentford, they were close last year.
They lost in the final to Fulham, actually.
West Ham ain't getting Champions League. If your goalkeeper scoring winners in the game, I think Liverpool will get it.
Oh gosh.
We'll get to that game soon. But yeah, we're still going through. I think we're finally on to today's games. The early kickoff, Crystal Palace 3, Aston Villa 2. Another young player, Tyreek Mitchell, getting his first goal for Palace.
It was a fumbled goal, but a goal's a goal. He won't care. He'll remember that day for the rest of his life. I just want to say, Crystal Palace, Zaha, Eberechi, Eze, obviously Tyreek Mitchell played well today, but Christian Benteke has rediscovered a type of form that I didn't think he'd ever be able to reach. I don't know what happened to him for about 2 or 3 years, but he was terrible.
Yeah, I don't know if it was confidence. I actually don't know what it was, because he was banging goals for Aston Villa. Liverpool has got some goals, but then Crystal Palace, it just hasn't happened. But now, as he said, he's reformed. He's found his form. And obviously got a goal today. Yeah,
I think obviously he's not going to get a move away or anything, but I think for Crystal Palace, I think he might be the perfect man, because you have Eze and Zaha who are good at putting in balls and good at creating chances, and they do put in a lot of crosses. And obviously, when you have the aerial ability that he possesses, you can't not score. And I think this season has really been, I guess, his second breakthrough year. Yeah, when he went to Liverpool, I'm still convinced he should have gone to Arsenal. I don't think Liverpool's the right move for Benteke. He really should have gone for Arsenal. That would have been way better for him. But yeah, he's never going to get to the level he was at. But
Eze is just too.
He's silky.
So silky. The way he plays. He got an assist today. Just the way he plays, he just glides past defenders like they're not there. And I think the signing from I think that was one of their best signings this season from QPR.
Would you take him at United? Not to be a starter, but
yeah, I take just because of his potential. Yeah, I'd take him.
Yeah, he's 20,
21, I think.
I think so. He's a young player, and he has a lot of potential. I would definitely take him at Man United. Not to be a starter or to replace Pogba or anything like that, but if you let him grow, and if you use him as a squad rotation player at first,
he's very comfortable on the ball.
Yeah,
I think he just runs with the ball, assists, goals. And this is his debut season. We're forgetting that this is his debut in the Premier League.
He's tearing it up.
Yeah. I would take Eze and Zaha at United. Gutted we got rid of Zaha.
I think, well,
you take Zaha back?
Evra spilled the beans, innit? He just didn't. David Moyes just didn't play him because of what happened off the pitch. But I was annoyed when we let him go permanently, because everyone knows that he was a talent when he was at Palace. You don't, get signed by Sir Alex Ferguson at that age if you're just an average player. He saw the potential. I still don't think he's lived up to his potential, and I don't think he ever really will, because he's not young anymore.
I think it's the team that he's in. He's playing at Crystal Palace.
Yeah,
if he's surrounded by better players, he would live up to his potential.
See, I wouldn't take him at United though, purely because he plays on the left, and that's Rashford's position at Manchester United. He wouldn't. Yeah, Fergie saw the potential. He wouldn't displace Rashford. And I don't really want to see him on the right, because I don't think that's his position, similar to Rashford. So I would take Eze. I would hope, I want Zaha to leave Crystal Palace so we can actually be in a team that's challenging for something.
He should be playing European football.
Yeah.
Whether it's Europa League or I think Champions League as well. The Champions League needs to be seeing Zaha. And Arsenal really should have signed Zaha instead of Pepe, but they decided. I think Zaha was actually meant to go to Arsenal, but something happened between the two clubs. But
it's actually Zaha's going to look back at his career. A lot of people are going to look back at his career as well and think, what was he doing at Palace for so long? Because he's bigger than the club. I mean, not bigger than the club. He's better than Crystal Palace, and I think you can just see it in his face. He never looks happy on the pitch. It's like in his head he's thinking, why am I here? Like I really need to be at a better club. I feel a bit sorry for him, but anything can happen this summer.
As for Crystal Palace, I've heard rumors about Frank Lampard taking over as manager. I don't know if those rumors are true, but Roy Hodgson, people saying that he's overstayed his time at Palace. His time's over.
His contract is up at the end of the season.
What do you think about Frank Lampard taking over that role?
I don't know, man. If he couldn't do it with Chelsea, what makes you think he's going to keep them in the Premier League?
He could with Derby. He was okay, but I don't know. He's not proven. That's the thing. He's not a proven manager.
I don't think Lampard's that good. He had by far and away the best squad in the Championship was Derby, and he couldn't get them promoted. He had a very good team with Chelsea, signed all of those players, and was struggling with them. He goes to Crystal Palace now you have two good players in Zaha and Eze. Roy Hodgson's barely keeping them in the Premier League. Why would Lampard keep them in the Premier League? If he's failed to deliver at two previous clubs, why would he just suddenly... Big Sam, I want Crystal Palace to get a manager in that doesn't just think with Crystal Palace, we need to defend. I want them to have a manager or someone that can implement a style of play that's creative, and maybe they'll get past that 50% possession.
Because they do have players. They have players capable of keeping the ball.
Yeah,
they can play it about, but obviously the style they play now is not necessarily built towards that.
Yeah. One day maybe. Hodgson's probably going to be gone at the end of the season. I hope Lampard doesn't get the job, because if he does, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if you see them battling for relegation come the end of the season. Because Lampard, what has he proven? What has he actually proven to you? He couldn't get Chelsea Champions League. Well, with the players that he bought, he invested a lot into the squad, and he couldn't get them Champions League. He wasn't even close. He couldn't take Derby into the Premier League when it was almost given.
Good question. Should Palace go for Scott Parker? Fulham did play some good football. Yeah, they did, but I feel like they also got. I don't know. Scott Parker is not really. He's proven. Obviously, he got Fulham promoted, but in the Prem, I think Palace should go for natural Premier League managers proven in the Prem. And obviously, Scott Parker's not proven in the Prem, even though Fulham did play good football at times.
I think when you're a team that kind of is, down the bottom, fighting for relegation, I don't think you can take risks like that. I think before you take a risk, you have to get past the first hurdle of let's cement our, status in the Premier League. Not saying get Big Sam or someone like that, but get even someone like Roberto Di Matteo. He's done it in the Premier League before. I'm not saying him, but someone of that level, because you're not going to get the best manager at Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
But you don't take that risk. You've got a manager that's just been relegated with Fulham, or you've got a manager that couldn't deliver wherever he's been. I don't think they can do that.
Yeah, and keeping on the discussion of managers, obviously Spurs, they won 2-0 today. They have the interim manager, Ryan Mason, and obviously they're in the market for manager as well. You mentioned Graham Potter, potentially. Yeah. But for Spurs, I don't know who they're looking at, to be honest.
Eddie Howe, question mark. That is
Eddie Howe.
That is a good shout because he's very highly rated and rightly so. Arsenal were apparently linked to him as well. Eddie Howe for Palace, I could see that happening.
Yeah, honestly. Yes, that's a shout. But for Spurs, they obviously need a manager. Kane looks like he's going to be on the way out. He scored today. Højbjerg also scored in a 2-0 win against Wolves. But Kane, he said that he's going to leave if they don't get top 4 or Champions League. So he's going to have to leave this season. I did mention a few episodes back that I think Nuno Espirito Santos could be maybe potential for Spurs, but you were saying that you don't think it's good enough.
Just Mourinho. He's literally Mourinho, which is not as good. If they go, if you go and get Santos or Nuno, if you go and get Nuno after you sack Mourinho, for me, there's no. What's the point? You might as well have just kept Mourinho. Because you're just going to see exactly the same football. Yeah, Kane is going to leave. And it's their own fault. So yeah, Spurs is a very, very tricky job because they have a good team. They have very good players, but they've never been a club that's won anything. So it's you can't sit there as a Spurs fan and say we should be winning stuff because why? I just don't know. I think he's just Mourinho reincarnated.
But yeah, Spurs, I don't know what they're trying to build because it's just, they're going to lose Kane this summer. They'll eventually lose Son. Bale's on loan. Then who do you have? Who can they attract to the club? Yeah, they could attract like some young players, but they're not going to attract like the star players. And we said that they're not in the top 6. They're not one of the big 6 clubs anymore. Leicester have overtaken them. And as a Spurs fan, I don't know how they feel. I think they're scared that Kane's going to leave, and obviously that'll mean that there'll be a domino effect of obviously Son. Like there's still clubs like Barcelona who are looking for players. Real Madrid rebuilding, United, City, Chelsea.
Kane at Barcelona. Imagine Kane, Messi, and I don't know, Ansu Fati up front. Wouldn't be bad at all. I think some people forget Kane is easy top 3 strikers in the world.
Yeah, of course.
He's a very, very talented player.
He could easily at the moment in the league.
Yeah, and assists. Yeah, and assists as well. Like he's proven it every single season, even with injuries. He's still breaking records. It's a tricky one. He's outgrown Spurs maybe a few years ago, but as I was just about to say, Spanish clubs have no money, but in general, I don't think anybody can afford Harry Kane. We can afford him.
Yeah,
City might be able to. PSG can afford him.
I think if we're in for a striker, we'll get Kane, and I think Haaland would go City.
But I'm just thinking about Cavani and Greenwood and Sancho.
It's true. Yeah, we did just
Cavani, Greenwood, and Sancho.
We just signed Cavani basically. Then
If you,
I don't know, because if we want to challenge, that's the thing. If we want to challenge Kane, it's true. He might not.
I think he does. There's never been any like concrete speculation that he's ready to leave apart from now. I think he understands that you can't just stay at your club for sentiment if you're not winning anything when you're the level of play he is. You can say for someone like Jermaine Genius when he was at Tottenham, he didn't leave, but they weren't going to win anything. But that's calm because it's him. Harry Kane is one of the best in the world at his job. You can't be one of the best in the world at your job as a footballer and stay somewhere where you actually know you're not going to win trophies. Because they can't be surprised that they get knocked out every year. They can't be surprised that they don't win the Premier League. You know, it's a Tottenham thing.
Yeah, and Kane has to be playing Champions League football every season. He can't be here just playing Premier League and all the English domestic cups. He has to be playing European football in the Champions League, not even Europa League. Champions League is where he should be, competing with the best, Lewandowski, Mbappe, Messi, Ronaldo. But the fact is that Kane is not even mentioned with those people. Okay, he's mentioned because of his goal scoring ability, but he needs to be playing against these type of players. And this is the best time for him to leave.
Yeah.
If he stays another season and just plays in the Premier League, what's the point? And wins nothing again. Big Ron said sign Sancho next year on a free.
What happened?
No,
we have to sign him this year.
Sign him, this season. Genius wasted his career. He had potential but never realized it.
Yeah. When you stay at a place for too long where you're just going to rot and you just decline. It could happen to Kane if he wants to stay at Tottenham for the next 5 years. He might just decline until when he's 32, he says to himself, man, I haven't won any trophies, but now I don't have the opportunity to go and win trophies because I missed the window.
Luke Thomas at 19 has more trophies than Kane.
Yeah.
But yeah, on to the top four battle. Liverpool, last minute winner from Alisson, as you can see from the title of this video, against West Brom. And they've only gone and done it. Liverpool might get top four this season.
Absolutely gutted.
I don't know how.
Gutted.
I don't know how they've done this. Alisson, rightfully so, man of the match. And it was a great header as well.
I didn't even see the goal live. I turned off the match. I turned it off about 89 minutes in because I was thinking, yeah, West Brom are going to hold on here.
Started goal 90+5.
Yeah,
so I was like, turn it off for injury time. You can't.
How's it Alisson? How many seasons does Shearer play in the Champions League? I think the Champions League now is different to when it was back then. I won't lie. Maybe not in terms of what it means to win it, but I don't think 30 years ago it would have been playing on his mind as much, playing in the Champions League.
Yeah, it's different nowadays. Alisson, I have Alisson in my fantasy.
I haven't checked my fantasy team since
I've got
week
Edison.
17.
Yeah, I just don't check it.
Once I'm not top of the league anymore, I'm out. I'm finished.
But yeah, Robson Kanu got the game going with the first goal for West Brom. Great finish. Yeah. I think he plays for Wales.
Yeah, he's a Welsh striker.
Yeah, I think he'll be in the Euros. He got the game going. But then Salah equaling Harry Kane, both top goal scorers at the moment. And Alisson obviously won the game. Liverpool. Let me see the league table. Liverpool. Fifth. 1 point off Chelsea. 2 games to go.
Chelsea have to beat Leicester. I cannot. I don't want Liverpool in the Champions League.
I can't. I want Liverpool. I want Chelsea out. I want Chelsea out just because I don't want to hear it from these Chelsea fans if they win Champions League. I want them out. Actually, it doesn't matter because if they win Champions League, they'll get Champions League. But if they don't, I'll just laugh at Chelsea if they don't win Champions League and don't get top 4. So,
if Chelsea don't get top 4, I'm just hoping that it was not Liverpool, so it would have to be West Ham or Tottenham. that get the Champions League. It would be a great job on Mason if he gets them to the Champions League, by the way. So that would be nice to see in I guess.
And yeah, everyone's saying forget Liverpool 11 Leicester won a race, Leicester won the FA Cup. Yeah, it was for any neutral fan, anyone who didn't support Chelsea, we said it that it was a great win for Leicester. Everyone was supporting Leicester. Even obviously your owner was on the pitch. So Leicester fans must be over the moon. They're not going to stop celebrating for the next week. And they deserved it. Tielemans. But quickly, going aside from the Premier League, Euros, are Belgium, do you think Belgium are like a threat in the Euros?
Honestly,
I was thinking that I thought Belgium had a good squad, but then I realized they actually might not. I think people have been saying Portugal, France, but I think I was saying Belgium, but I just realized that they might actually not have a good squad.
Belgium without Eden Hazard are such a different outlet because you have Lukaku, you have De Bruyne, you have Courtois. Alderweireld, Vertonghen, they're not as good as they were, but they're not bad, obviously. But then you have players like Castan, he plays for Leicester. You have Dennis Pratt, who plays for Leicester as well.
Lukaku.
Yeah, I just don't think you have enough quality players.
Tielemans, Carrasco, forget Eden.
They can't. I don't think they'll be winning the Euros.
What's his
Portugal.
Name? What's that guy's name from Brighton?
Leandro Trossard.
Yeah, Trossard. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why I thought, because when I thought of Belgium, I was thinking of their World Cup squad, and obviously how they got far. But obviously at the moment, it's just not the same. And
I think they're still the number one ranked side. If I can,
they are. I think they are. But Portugal, I realize how dangerous their squad is. Obviously Ronaldo, Bruno, Ricardo Pereira.
You got João Felix. You got Ruben Diaz next to Pepe at the back. That's going to be a ridiculous
Guerrero left back
partners.
Patricio in goal.
João
Cancelo.
I'm looking at these world rankings for actual countries. You'd be surprised. Denmark are 10th, Uruguay 9th, Argentina are 8th, Italy 7th, Spain 6th, Portugal 5th, England 4th. So 4 to 10, it's kind of close, but then there's a massive gap in points. Not sure how the point system works. But then you have Brazil at 3rd, France 2nd, and then Belgium 1st.
Yeah, Bernardo Silva. They even have Andre Silva.
He's had a very good season for Frankfurt.
Yeah. So Portugal, I think obviously they won the last Euros as well.
Yeah.
Watch out for Turkey. Not too sure what Turkey have. I know Sionchu. That's about it.
Yeah, they got the Lille striker. Can't remember his name. Yes, I can't remember he plays for Lille. He's one of the top scorers in the French league this season, and they might win the league. But he's very good as well. They have Burak Yilmaz. He's a bit of an old boy now, but he's still very good. He's also playing for Lille. They both play for Lille. So they don't have a bad squad. No, they have someone else.
Yeah, the guy who used to play for Leicester. Or Everton.
No, that was Slimani.
Okay.
Yilmaz played for Galatasaray. He had that one season in the Champions League where he was just banging goals in. I want to say 2014-15 or 13-14. But I do remember that quite vividly. I need to find out who this...
Whoa. Okay, so Everton actually losing. They're losing currently to Sheffield 1-0.
Yeah, I've got the game.
Obviously, there's the Women's Champions League final, Chelsea versus Barcelona, and Chelsea are getting ripped apart by Barcelona. It's 3-0. 33 minutes have gone.
Oh my! Oh wow!
What?
That is actually a real shame.
30 minutes. That is.
I might have to get that match on.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it now. What a ball. But yeah.
Where's this game?
It's on BT, but yeah, I think that rounds up this weekend's action. Next week, let me just quickly check the fixtures for next week. I know United are playing on Tuesday against Fulham at home. Fans are going to be back in the stadiums. And so Tuesday, Man United, Fulham, Southampton, Leeds, Brighton, Man City, Chelsea, Leicester, which is a big game. Then Wednesday, Everton, Wolves, Newcastle, Sheffield, Spurs, Villa, Palace, Arsenal, Burnley, Liverpool, and West Brom, West Ham.
Yeah.
And yeah, those are the midweek games, and then there's games. The Premier League ends Sunday 23rd. So I guess we should do a video on Sunday to round up the Premier League and the midweek games.
Barcelona just scored again, 4-0.
It's 4-0.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you're welcome, Big Ron. I think obviously make sure you please like and subscribe, because obviously the Euros is coming up this summer, and I think we have even more plans, more video ideas that we'll do. More like, I think we'll get more like guests on as well. Like, you know how we did the drafts? I think we'll have more like episodes like that. And yeah, it should be a good summer, especially with the transfer window opening up soon. Get more discussion on the transfers, what rival fans think as well. And yeah, thank you everyone for watching.
Thank you very much.
Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And yeah, we'll see you next week. City have won the league, but we'll be back next season. Goodbye.
Bye, guys.